The United States Senate has taken a major step towards imposing some of its toughest sanctions yet on Russia. But this isn't just about Moscow. The proposed law could also hit countries that continue buying Russian oil, including India. If it eventually becomes law, it could give U.S. President Donald Trump the power to impose an additional 100% tariff on some of the world's biggest buyers of Russian energy. India is one of them. The U.S. Senate has voted 86-12 to advance a bipartisan Russia sanctions bill. This isn't the final vote. The legislation still needs Senate approval, passage in the House of Representatives, and President Trump's signature before it becomes law. And because the House has already begun its August recess, the bill is unlikely to become law before September. But the Senate vote sends a clear political message. There is broad bipartisan support in Washington for increasing pressure on Russia over the war in Ukraine. So why does India feature in this bill? Because over the past 4 years, India has become one of the world's largest buyers of Russian crude oil. After Western countries imposed sanctions on Moscow, Russia began offering its oil at discounted prices. Indian refiners bought more of it. Today, India is one of Russia's biggest energy customers. From Washington's perspective, those purchases help generate revenue that Russia can use to finance its war. India, however, has consistently defended its position. New Delhi says it buys oil based on price, availability, and energy security, and has repeatedly argued that affordable energy is essential for a country that imports more than 85% of its crude oil. So what exactly does the latest U.S. bill propose? The legislation would give President Trump sweeping new powers. He could impose a 500% tariff on Russian goods entering the United States. But more importantly for India, he could also impose an additional 100% tariff on countries that continue buying large volumes of Russian oil or natural gas. The bill also targets countries accused of helping Russia bypass existing energy sanctions. There is, however, an important point. These tariffs are not automatic. The bill gives the president the authority to impose them. It does not require him to do so. In fact, it also allows the president to waive sanctions if he believes doing so is in the national interest of the United States. So should India be worried? Potentially, but not immediately. This is still proposed legislation. Even if it becomes law, the White House would decide whether, when, and against whom to use these new powers. That means India is not facing an automatic 100% tariff tomorrow. But it does create fresh uncertainty in India's trade relationship with the United States. Now, why does this matter to ordinary Indians? Because oil affects almost everything. India imports the vast majority of the crude oil it consumes. If access to discounted Russian oil becomes more difficult or more expensive, Indian refiners may have to buy more oil from other suppliers. That could increase import costs. And higher crude oil prices often feed into transport costs, manufacturing costs, and inflation. In other words, what begins as a geopolitical dispute can eventually affect the prices consumers pay at home. There's another reason this matters. India and the United States are also trying to deepen their economic relationship. The two countries have been negotiating trade issues while expanding cooperation in technology, defense, and investment. If sanctions over Russian oil become another point of friction, they could complicate those broader discussions. At the same time, Washington faces a difficult balancing act. India is not just a major buyer of Russian crude. It is also one of America's most important strategic partners in the Indo-Pacific. That makes any decision politically and economically complicated. India's purchases of Russian oil have increased again in recent months, partly because instability in West Asia has disrupted global energy supplies and made Russian crude an even more important source for Indian refiners. That means any future U.S. action would come at a time when India is relying heavily on Russian imports to maintain energy security.